Hello, everybody. Welcome to Coach's Corner on this wonderful Sunday. I'm here joined with my amazing colleagues, and this is actually a part 2 of chapter 1 of an amazing book. Not only a book, it's also like a session, a training thing. It's huge. Changed millions of lives and businesses as well. You Were Born Rich, and we're on chapter 1, Money and Me. So we're talking about money. You might be interested in this, you might be interested in money. So without further ado, my name is Jamel Matias. I'm a certified mindset success coach. I'm in the Maryland area, and I work with individuals, businesses, entrepreneurs, but my purpose is to reveal the potential that is already there and guide you to your truest desires. And whatever that is for you, we're here to help. So I'll pass it to my amazing colleague, Lou.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And if you're catching the replay, we appreciate you being here. So my name is Lou Perica. I am as well a success mindset coach. And I help, strong, capable women reconnect with themselves, because for years they've been doing so much for others. And how I do it is we do it through transformational mindset shifts. So you can really build a life of peace, purpose, and prosperity. And I'm so grateful that everyone's here. And I love this chapter about money and me. Alicia.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alicia Espinosa. I am in Sweden. And you know how it is when you have reached everything. You have a good good job, a salary, a family, and everything, and still feel something that is inside you is like very empty. And this is what I help people with, to stop chasing everything out from the outside and create a life that feels good on the inside and is aligned with the values, the highest values that you have. Yes.
All right. Highest values. I love it. I love it. I know Alicia has some hidden highest value descriptions over there. That she'll share. But this is so important, and we're going to do a little recap. But before we do, feel free to interact, engage with us. Drop comments, questions. Feel free to reach out to us, because this knowledge, you can use it for the rest of your life and create whatever it is that you want. And we're getting into a really special part in this chapter that will be very impactful for you. So to recap a little bit, we talked about the importance of money. If you missed last Sunday, whatever platform you're watching this on, just scroll down a little bit to last week, and you'll find part 1 of this, where we talked about in great depth the importance of money. And we broke down so much here. So money is very important, and it dictates your lifestyle, everything you experience with you and your family, and the growth as well, right? Growth for you and all those that you impact. And we talked about the difference of money is a servant. Money is being a servant for you, not the other way around. It says money is a servant. You are the master. Never let money be the master, right? And we talked a lot about that. You should always love people and use money rather than the reverse. So you love people and use money. Use money to expand who you are, right? So we talked about money being a servant. Money is important. And I know Alicia has something to share in this as well. Money must circulate. We talked
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
and
Oh, sorry. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
see, she's eager. So
I'm eager. Mm.
yeah, I love it. So money is meant to circulate, and some people kind of don't really understand what that means. And Alicia will share a little more in depth and answer a question that was asked. And I think that's where, yep. So, and we got into depth with that as well, what that really meant. So, Alicia, you wanted to share?
Yeah, because it was a person that contacted me and asked me about this, uh, uh, the part we talk about that money must circulate because money is energy, and and this is because the person say, yeah, but if I'm going to circulate it, I'm going to buy this and buy this, and then I will not have any money. And that is not what we meant. Uh, we mean that when the money, money is energy, and this is a value that we have when we create service to people. For example, you are on your job, you get paid for the service you render. Or if you have a business, you get money for the service you render. So that is the energy. And when we talk about circulating that, it's about intentional circulation, not wasting your money in things that that maybe is not important to you. So it's more like investment, contribution, purchases that are in value, in alignment with your values, and and then you give power to this, so it's not like buying everything, but it's what is in alignment with your value. And also we need to, when we think about buying something, let's say, for example, I had before a client that wanted to buy a big house, and the person was alone, and I asked what was the reason he wanted to buy the house. And then he say, yeah, but it will be me the power, and I can show that I can. But then it's not aligned with your values, because he has other things that he values most. But because he thinks that what he will buy with the money will give him more respect, or people will admire him more, then it's not good, because then you are going to buy things that are not aligned with your values just because you want to show somebody else something. Or do you want to be loved, or do you want to be respected, or do you want to be admired? That is not good circulation of money.
Mm.
So that is what I wanted to say about that. uh, that
Yeah. So
make me.
I'll piggyback on that. So Bob talks about that in chapter one, how money is not, we're not talking about squandering money, just blowing money. That's not what we're talking about. But he also talks about every time he'd come home, he would go in his pockets and throw all the change in. I think he had a bear stein someone had given him at one point. And I do the same thing. Every time I come home, I take all my loose change and I put it in. We have this big vase or something. And when that fills up, he gives that money, because think about it, the money sitting in the bear stein has zero value. It has no value until he now gives it to, I think he gives it to his children, or I think he rotates it, or to his cousins. And whoever receives it at that time now takes that money. And he speaks about one of his cousins who purchases golf lessons
Mhm.
with that money. See, when it was sitting on his bureau, it had no value. But once he gave it to his cousin and the cousin took that money and purchased golf lessons, he put that money into circulation. And then Bob mentions, so he doesn't know what the golf instructor did with the money, but most likely that golf instructor did not put it back on into some sort of a container just to save. That golf instructor most likely, put that money into circulation. So when you think about it, this is what we're talking about, is keeping it into circulation. If Bob just kept that money and just kept saving it and saving it and saving it, and maybe he put it in bigger containers, it had no value. It didn't have value until it was put into circulation. And that physical money now benefits everyone whose hands it passes through. Everyone benefits it. So imagine if, how they used to write on dollars, hey, whatever, they'll put the city or state, somebody, and it'd be interesting to see where that dollar bill, for an example, goes, right, and comes back around. But there's also, we focus on the physical money, but I want to talk about also psychic money. See, money really and wealth and richness starts in the mind. It's all a state of mind. Wealth is a state of mind. Happiness is a state of mind. Health is a state of mind. Love and relationships are states of mind. So what we have is really psychic income, because it really starts in the mind and how you were raised and conditioned to think about money. I think we all shared last week. Money to me, like my mother used to tell me, I have to go out in the tree to pick it off the, every time I wanted something, she'd go out in the backyard and go to the money tree. And for a while when I was young, I thought that to be true. But then you realize, like, oh, every time I wanted something, an adult would make fun of me, right? Joking, like, so what I truly wanted was kind of laughed at. So this is how the conditioning starts, right? When you start getting older and you want things, all of a sudden, well, is it worth it? Do you really need it? And you start questioning how you're also using your money. And sometimes I just buy things because I just want it. I just want it. Do I squander sometimes? Sometimes. Not most of the time, but sometimes I do, because I understand that money is to be used, it is to be enjoyed, and it is to be circulated as well. Jamel.
I'm so glad, you both broke that down really well, because, a lot of people kind of confuse what that means. So, and he even said it at the beginning there. I mean, you hammered it home, but he says the third thing you should know about money is that it is valuable only as long as it is being used. Once it has been taken out of circulation, it becomes as worthless as old newspapers or empty beer cans that have been stashed away in the attic. So now, hopefully now, yeah. So hopefully now you know the difference between the two. So I'm really excited to move on to this next part, prosperity consciousness exercise. And, all of us here that watch this, you want to have a prosperous mindset, right? You want to have a prosperous future. You want to grow, be more, do more, have more. And this is how you tap into that money consciousness, rather than having a what's the term he used in Think and Grow Rich? Poverty consciousness. There you go. Thank you. So let me share my screen here so that way you can really see what we're talking about. This part was so powerful. Let me find my window here. There we go. I think that's it. I hope so. Okay. So this is the prosperity consciousness exercise, and you can utilize this when? Not tomorrow. right now, right after you're done watching this. So he says here, now that we have touched upon some of the characteristics of money, let us turn briefly to a simple technique which you can begin using immediately. This is so good. To start attracting the amount of money you desire, the first thing that I want you to do is to picture yourself in your mind's eye, sitting in a room with several of your friends. Then I want you to visualize yourself announcing to them your intention of becoming wealthy, at least wealthy enough to live the way you choose to live. And then it says, now imagine how that would make you feel. This is very important. How would that make you feel? So if you are like most people, you would probably feel very uncomfortable. Perhaps you would feel so uncomfortable that you might even retract what you had said by informing your friends you were only joking.
Mm-hmm.
And I can go on, but how important is it for you to to have this visualization just right here before I go into the other parts? Anybody want to share there of how seeing in your mind's eye, especially having friends or family in a room and visualizing yourself announcing to them your intention of the wealth that you're creating?
Yeah, I would be very careful of who you are announcing your goal of being wealthy to. I would be very careful. Um, to share that goal would be okay, but you want to share it with someone who thinks big as well, who has the mindset and understanding that we can really be, do, and have anything, as long as we're in alignment with what it is that we truly want. So I would be very selective, because I know I used to say, just blurt out, oh, this is what I want, this is what I want to do. Now I find myself to be very selective, because depending on who you're surrounding yourself with, again, that can change your vibration, right? And so I can see myself in that little paragraph maybe years ago sharing, oh, I'm going to be wealthy. And I can feel, oh my gosh, like from the energy, you can feel other people's thoughts, right? Whether they're in alignment with what you desire or not. And I may have at that point retracted, just like Bob mentions in this paragraph. So I think it's very important to make sure that this is something you truly desire, whatever it is, whether it's income, whether it's wealth, whether it's relationships, whether it's health, whatever it is, really to go inside and make sure this is truly what I desire. And then when you do make that decision, find like-minded people who also have goals, who also can make decisions, who are also they're persistent in doing what it is that they want to do in order to achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve. So I do think it's very important who you share your dreams and goals with.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, Lou. For this particular consciousness exercise, prosperity consciousness, I
Mm,
think, notice they say visualize,
yeah.
right? So this is a visualization, not an actual sitting at a table. Hey, I'm going to earn this amount of money. And I
Right.
agree with Lou. You definitely, especially when you make a committed decision to change your life with material like this, I tell my clients, keep your goal to yourself, you know, until a certain period, right? Because it even goes in further why you would feel uncomfortable doing that, even in your visualization. But I just wanted to jump in and to reiterate that this is a visualization, not for you to do it in the physical world and
Right. Right.
really do that. Okay. And Elisa, you had something to share there. So
Yeah, I agree also that it's important to know who you talk to about your dreams, because if the person have a scarcity mindset or the poverty mindset, then that person will never uh, believe that it will be possible for you to do that, because we put our beliefs in others. We try to put our, I don't know if you remember, sometimes I talk about the fireman, the firefighters, that you come with a burning desire inside you, and then they just you know take away that fire within you, because they don't believe in that. And so this is, but something that I wanted to talk about is about just the prosperity consciousness, because I was also asked many, I have before training about the overborn rich, and I was asked, but what is prosperity consciousness? And that is a state of mind where you feel comfortable with wealth, and also that you deserve abundance, and your emotions are aligned with financial success,
Mhm.
and also that you are open to receive and spending and growing your money. So that is very important to think about that what it is, the 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 definition, and is the contrast though then from the scarcity consciousness, where most people have scarcity, and it's more like Lewis say that money doesn't grow on trees, or for me was like, oh, it's not that every time I go to the toilet, it's money coming out.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, that is also. So when I was doing this many years ago, the overboard reach, I was thinking about my money blueprint. What is my money blueprint, and what is my conscience? Do I have a scarcity mindset, and do I have a prosperity mindset? And I had lot a lot of scarcity mindset, because I just was uh, born and raised in a culture, in a family that has that it's difficult to earn money. You need to work hard. But my father was working hard, but we had no money.
Mm.
You know, so you have people that are working very hard and still don't have money.
Mhm.
So yeah, so it's about the consciousness, yeah, and the blueprint that we have in our mind.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to.
Yeah, well said. That is so good. And that is why this visualization is important, because you're tapping into spirit and you're tapping into that consciousness. So to continue here a little bit, what was um, they were referring to about being uncomfortable. I thought this was so good because at first, you're visualizing and you're telling these people or friends about you becoming wealthy. They say, like I said here, if you are like most people, you'll probably feel very uncomfortable doing that in your visualization. Perhaps you will feel so uncomfortable that you might even retract what you had said in your visualization by informing your friends you were only joking. So you should, this is good here. Let me scroll down. You should understand, however, that people who are wealthy never feel uncomfortable when the subject of money is brought up. Why don't they, you ask? The most obvious answer would be because they already have lots of it. All right. So, but that is not the correct answer. You should realize that people don't feel comfortable about money because they have it. They have it because they feel comfortable about it. That is massive.
Yeah.
So, in other words, one of the reasons that wealthy people have money is that they have developed that state of consciousness we will hereinafter refer to as prosperity consciousness, right? Therefore, it
Mhm.
follows if we wish to attract money to ourselves, we must begin to foster a prosperity consciousness as well. Okay, so the big thing is they have it because they feel comfortable about it, right? And it goes on to say here the question you should now be asking yourself is this: how do I go about developing this prosperity consciousness for myself? And he said, let me explain. The best way to develop a prosperity consciousness is to start seeing yourself in your mind's eye, which we, kind of touched on here, already in possession of the amount of money that you desire. So the reason this is so is that since the subconscious mind cannot distinguish between the actual possession of money and mere visualization, you will soon become very comfortable with the idea of money. As a result, you will start attracting it to yourself. I thought that was explained so well,
Mm.
Yeah,
and it's very powerful.
I wanted to say that about that is that the prosperity consciousness isn't about pretending to be rich. It's about conditioning the mind to feel safe and worthy and aligned with abundance, which then it will influence our behavior and decisions and results. So it's how we attract the money because then we come with ideas. When you feel safe to earn money, you will come with ideas that will attract more money to you. So it's like a invisible foundation behind the visible wealth that we have, I
Yeah.
think.
And also on the subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind's job is to accept the belief and respond to that belief by bringing you the experience. So the experience is through people, through circumstances, through conditions, through events, through opportunities. This is how the subconscious mind brings the experience to you, but it has no ability to reject. So, this is why when you start to visualize and imagine yourself as whether it's wealthy, healthy, in love, whatever it is that you truly desire, and through constant space repetition, get that subconscious mind, plant that seed in the subconscious mind so the subconscious mind now believes it. Become a fixed belief. It now goes to work like a search engine or like a GPS, and it starts attracting, drawing to you everything that you need to experience it. This is all by law. This isn't just because Jamel, Alicia, and Lou said this. This is all by law. That's how things come from a no thing, an idea into physical form. So imagine if you the royal family, for an example. So they're raised, they have people opening doors for them, setting out their clothes, getting their different meals, making their appointments. This is the lifestyle that they have been raised in. Now, granted, it's a minority of people that are raised this way. However, when you're raised this way, you just think this is how life is. And if we went through on the other side of the scale and you were raised thinking that you have to work really hard, money doesn't grow on trees. Why do you want that? We can't afford that. You now start to think that money is very difficult. So you have one family that believes, like, oh, yes, money's everywhere, right? They're conditioned to think that way. That's how they were raised. And then on the opposite spectrum, you have another family that thinks it's very, very difficult to earn money. But really, it all comes to, if they were to switch roles, if you were to take the royal family and put it in a hardworking family when they were young, they would soon forget about their wealth. If you took them when they were a very young child, they would forget that lifestyle of opulence, of wealth, of maybe entitlement. They would forget about that if you were to put them, let's just say, on a farm, right? With hardworking farmers, they would completely think differently of prosperity and money. So it's really the way that we're conditioned to believe. So now being an adult, if you're listening to this, when you study, and I love when Bob says, when you read this book, don't just devour it. It is to be sipped and tasted. This is what, right? Bob has taught us how to really study, not just read a book, but to study. But this is why this information now, as adults, we understand that we have the ability to change that conditioning. We understand that it was conditioning. We understand that our parents did the best that they could with what they knew at that time or the environment that we were raised in. Now we have an understanding of how the mind works and how it's conditioned. So we have the ability, because we're very powerful creators, to shift that conditioning. And this is why we're here presenting this material. But it's all works by law. It's not just because we're saying so. It just works. This is how it works.
Yeah.
Jamel?
Yeah. Thank you, Lou. I love that. Bob shares in this book here, this may sound like a game you're playing when you visualize something that you don't see. It sounds very fake, right? It's just because of your conditioning, meaning your programming. But he says, let me assure you, it is one of the wisest things you can possibly do. And this is working smarter, not harder. So basically, with the stick person, it gives you exactly the image of your mind. You can build dreams here in your conscious mind. Who is this version of you with the income that you want, with the lifestyle that you want, with whatever items that you want to buy, the experiences, the travel, what you buy for your family's birthday gifts, and the investments you put in your business and in yourself, the shoes you buy, the makeup, the massages, the purses, the cars, the cologne, all of this can go right here. We were all on a very powerful call, and a particular person wanted, I think it was lilies all over the house, and lilies are kind of expensive, right? So she started with daisies. So she started putting daisies around the house. So remember, the subconscious mind, it doesn't know what's real or make believe, and it only accepts. Here in the conscious, you can accept or reject. So imagine revisiting that visualization every day, getting clarity on you being that version. Who is that person? So that's basically what we're talking about with prosperity consciousness. You want to embody, you want to become that version of you, despite the outside world. This is a totally different way of thinking that we were really used to. And, a lot of people have created fortunes with this exact process. So to continue, it says, fear not, right? One thing you should never, never do. This goes for everybody that watches this or listens to it, is worry about whether or not you will get the money you desire or whether you will keep it. And then he says, let me elaborate. So why does he say that? What does worry bring? What do you think that brings? What you don't want, right? What you tune into, you turn into. So you're putting the focus on what you don't want, the lack of not having it, or worrying if you're going to get it. Worry is doubt. This is why mentorship is key to your future, because now you're getting an abundant mindset. You're learning about your true abundance and how to basically connect with infinite intelligence. So you're allowing, anytime you worry, you're putting focus, all your energy on what you don't want. You're like, oh, I hope I get it. I wish I get it. Now imagine yourself, it's already here. And towards the end, they talked about energy, how nothing's created or destroyed, but it is already here. You just haven't matched the frequency of that. When you visualize, you're matching that frequency. You're becoming. You be, do, have. You don't do, if I do this, I can have that, and then I can become that. You be it first. And that's basically what visualization is. You're tapping into spirit, energy, the source, or God, whatever term you want to use. Yeah, so fear not. Don't worry about it. Visualize and enjoy the process of perpetual transmutation of energy.
Mhm. And I like how, where Job says out of the Bible, behold, this thing I fear has come to visit upon me. So whether it's something you fear or something that you desire, either way, you are directing that energy. So this is why we want to be very mindful of where we're directing our energy. And sometimes, well, I really would love money, but I'm broke or whatever, I'm in debt. And now you're splitting your energy, right? So you're weakening your energy. Focus on the having, not the not having. And then I think next week we'll be getting into another chapter, but this is so vitally important. And again, that old conditioning will always, most likely will keep creeping up. And this is when you start to understand, oh, wait a minute, my conscious mind, I have the ability to accept or reject that idea. Oh, here comes lack and scarcity. Oh, get out of here. Get out of here. I choose to focus on abundance. I choose to focus on prosperity. I choose to focus on love and goodness because you get to choose. Now, anyone who's wealthy, they didn't get there, whatever you deem wealthy to be, they didn't get there with the lack mindset. With the scarcity mindset. They had an idea, they were fixed on that idea, and they did whatever it took. Hopefully it was legal, ethical, and moral to achieve their goal. And then they reaped the benefits because they were persistent. They stayed true to that desire, whatever that desire may be, whatever that vision may be in their mind, they stay true to it. But you can't split your energy. You must keep your energy focused on what it is that you desire. But I can hear Bob say, behold, the thing that I fear has come to visit upon me. It's like, it's so true because when you're around people and they complain a lot, they always have more to complain about. It's really, so be careful who you have conversations with because it will cheapen your energy. So
Yeah, I yeah, I was thinking about the worries because Bob say also like if you want to have money, one thing that you should never do is to worry about whether you will get the money you desire or whether you will keep it. And then I also I remember I got a question and it was like, yeah, but if if I don't if I don't think about I don't worry about how I'm going to pay the bills and so maybe it's that I don't care, and it's
mhm,
not about that. It's not about not being responsible and that you don't care, but it's that yes, you need to think, to plan, to act, and strategize how you get the money. But worry is not thinking, you
mhm.
know. So worry is not thinking, is not preparation, it is paralysis. And sometimes we will get paralysis by analysis, you know. We analyze and we are thinking about the future. And what it's happened then is that we vibrate in the lack, you know, the scarcity mindset. So if we think about thinking, thinking is like conscious, then intentional and creative planning. But worrying is emotional, fear-based repetition with no forward movement. So what we do, if we think about the stick person, is like we have this um, or tools, yeah, and then we use the perception that, you know, we start to think the perception that I don't have the money, and then the imagination will start to creating fear-based, you know, it take the big and you do a chicken from a feather, you know, instead of just thinking, okay, the situation is what it is. When you are in fear, you will paralyze. But when you believe that, okay, I am capable of doing this, you will come with the ideas and a plan on how you are going to create the money and take action. And then it will be more, instead of fear based movement, it will be more you know, intentional or inspirational movement. Yeah.
Yeah, this
Because
is
fear block or creativity, and also it shrink or decision making. So when, you know, you will be paralyzed, so then you will attract more fear to or and reaffirm in your subconscious mind the beliefs that money is scarce.
mm, yeah, that's amazing. You know, and it even says here, worrying about money is always extremely counterproductive. Extremely. So worrying about anything is counterproductive, which is the opposite of productive. And if you're focusing on, you know, what you don't want constantly, you'll perpetually create that cycle. Worry creates more worry. And it's a stream of consciousness, actually. If you start thinking how you can do it, how it will happen, you start getting ideas in um, that avenue, right? There's the law of polarity. There's negative and positive. So as you start thinking positive, like attracts like, you have a stream of consciousness on how you can achieve a thing or basically have it in your current state. Or you can think, oh, how am I going to do that? I have no idea. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. And you'll keep thinking that stream of consciousness in the negative way. So we are creative beings here to create. That's what we are. So you can create what you don't want, or you can create what you do want. We have the choice. So he says, learn to pay substantial. This is so big because both of you touched on this. Learn to pay substantially less attention to what others around you are saying and substantially more attention to what that quiet voice that speaks within you is saying. Wow. Put more, that's an interesting word. Put more prosaically. He says, you must strive to become much less susceptible. At least here we can hear the papers.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. See, the paradigms are trying to stop us.
Is that what it was? Oh, it sounded like a storm.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. It was really loud.
and I
Okay.
don't hear anything. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's next to your microphone or something.
Yeah. Oh,
Um, so see, only on Coach's Corner we lift your vibration, right?
this is that is natural.
The natural.
Exactly. There's no editing. There's no, this is just right at you
Real
live, right
things.
here. So he says, learn to pay substantially less attention to what others around you are saying and substantially more attention to what that quiet voice that speaks within you is saying. So what that means is, what are you saying to yourself? This is where awareness comes in, where you have to slow down to speed up. Like, what have I been thinking? What have I been focusing on? What are my thoughts about who I'm becoming and what I really want? And then he says, you must strive to become much less susceptible to influences outside of yourself and much more inclined to trust the instincts and feelings that lie within you. That part was so amazing because remember, you can allow the outside world to shape your own thinking, your own beliefs. Most of our beliefs are developed because of our outside world. Now you're reevaluating. Why do I believe that? Who am I really? What can I really do? You have unlimited potential. So when you tap into that, don't let the outside world or your current circumstances dictate your own thoughts. This is so important because some people never know this and they'll continuously create what they don't want. And it's an endless cycle. Trust the instincts and feeling. What is instincts? That's intuition. I was talking earlier to a client of mine about intuition. How, when you pray, you talk to God, and when you have an information come to you what to do, that's God talking to you. So listen to those instincts and those feelings because they tell you what you're thinking. Your feelings will tell you what you're thinking. If you have negative thoughts, oh, I gotta go to work. Oh, I gotta go to that meeting. Oh, look at my bank account. You're gonna feel bad. Your feelings are the secret, right? They'll tell you what you consciously. Right now, I'm thinking amazing thoughts. So I'm learning how to control manage my thinking and what I choose to tune into every single day as much as possible. Because this is your kingdom. What do you do with your mind? do you do you get clarity in where you're going, or you allow everybody else to tell you what to think? So anyway, that was a very powerful paragraph.
I just wanted to touch upon something Alicia was talking about worrying and questions that were asked of her when she did this program before. And I want to talk about, well, I'm going off a little off track, a little bit, but when people think about, yeah, this all sounds good, but I have bills. I have bills to pay, right? So you can either worry about your bills, but you're going to have bills. So you either worry about them or you do your best to pay them. But this is the thing, you know, this was a this was a great aha moment for me. I think I was listening to something about gratitude. You have bills because you have things. How many people complain about their phone bill, their car payment, the mortgage payment, insurance, etc., etc.? It's you have these things. So I think I know what it was. Someone said they didn't have any keys. They were older and they sold their home or whatever. They had to leave their home. They had to move in with their daughter or something. They didn't have a car anymore. They didn't have a job where they can go. They didn't have any keys. And that was a huge awakening moment for her. She says, I don't have keys. I don't have anything, right? So, but when you look at your bills, instead of looking, oh, you can look at them that way, or you can say, wow, I have this bill because that company placed trust in me to purchase a car, to purchase a phone, etc. And they place trust in me, so I feel honored, and I will pay them X amount of dollars a month, a week, a year, whatever it may be. So, if this helps you, just shift your perspective on your bills, because you have bills because you have stuff. So I just wanted to bring that up. You can worry about them, but it's not going to pay the bills, because
Mhm.
worrying is really negative goal setting.
Yeah.
So you have a bill, you pay the bill. Thank you. Move on. Thank you for placing the trust in me. Thank you for giving me the car because I didn't have the full amount at the time I purchased the car. You placed trust in me. Thank you very much. Pay the bill and move on. I just wanted to make that
I,
just
I
bring
don't
that
know
up.
if I don't know if you are familiar with Ken Honda. He
Yes.
talk about
Happy
money, and
money.
he talk about the arigato money,
Yeah.
and he talk also about the how when he's like paying the bills, he's like arigato, saying
Thank you.
a
Thank
lot of thank you because this gives me so abundant. I have money. I have the phone. I have the house. I have the electricity, and so instead of like, oh my gosh, now I need to work, pay, and instead of worrying, instead like how I'm not going to be able to pay the bills, and so instead of asking, how can I create this? How can I give more service? How can I create more, something that can help people more? And so,
you. Yeah.
Yeah. And think about it. When you're paying the bills, what is the money doing? It's circulating.
Circulating. Yes.
So that's another form of circulation of money.
mhm,
And you're basically paying for a service while you're doing service. You're getting money from doing a service, and you're basically putting money back into another service. And it's definitely a cycle. That's what circulation is.
Mm-hmm.
And it says most people who fail to accumulate enough money to live in the style they choose are the same people who are most easily influenced by other people's opinions. That was massive, right? So if you're failing to accumulate enough money to live whatever way you want, you're easily influenced by other people or the outside world, your circumstances. And that was a key point that was put here in the book, because basically your results will reflect your own mindset. It will. You're by their fruit you shall know them, right? So the outside would always reflect what's on the inside. So if you're allowing people's opinions that's on a lower frequency, that all they knew is just work hard their whole life, or whatever upbringing they had about money and all their beliefs, if you're allowing that to influence your thoughts, you're basically going to be on that same low vibration, right? And also low mindset. And you're thinking all these low things. Oh, I got to pay the bills. I got to pay. Well, you're going to got to pay the bills the rest of your life. Now, how are you going to break that? Right. And this is just a small part of development, like within an hour of us talking about this particular exercise. And Bob says here, opinions are the cheapest commodities on earth.
Yep.
Everybody has an
Everyone's got
opinion.
them.
Everybody has an opinion, right? And I had to underline that because it was funny to me. But, imagine paying attention to every opinion every person has in your life about you. That's insane, right? So this is why they mention that quiet voice. Neville Goddard calls it inner speech.
Mm.
Like, what are you telling yourself? What are you're focusing on every day? What energy are you connecting to? And he said, heed your own counsel, meaning listen to yourself, believe in yourself, right? You see, believe in the unseen. It's all about belief in yourself. And basically what you can't see with your physical eye yet. And in closing here, he says, keeping an attentive ear open for God's counsel. Remember, if you do, there's absolutely no reason why you cannot be financially successful within a very reasonable period of time. So basically they're just saying, be attentive, to what you're saying to yourself, and also what intuition is telling you. Don't allow people's opinions dictate what you believe for your own life. I just kind of wanted to share there because it's in that section, fear not, and he said so
Mhm.
much there. But any thoughts come to mind about that?
For me, and this is what we've all, I believe this is the big aha we've all had by studying with Bob and others, is that we probably never really understood who we truly were. So until you really know or tap into who you truly are, and what I mean by that is a spiritual being, then when you understand that you are a spiritual being, that you have the gift to think, and you are co creating with universal intelligence, when you truly believe that and understand that, you start to believe in yourself more. And so you have yourself and then you have your higher self. But you to understand and be able to distinguish both will give you more ability to believe and to take risk and understand that there are laws backing you. It's not you just don't have some desire and say, hey, good luck, kid. Right? There are laws that are backing you. The universe has your back. I know when we have, when we're speaking to prospects, when we have a call with them, one of the questions that we may ask is on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you believe that you can actually achieve this, or whatever the question is, but we typically put it on a scale, on a scale of 1 to 10, and someone might say a 7 or an 8. And well, how come it's not a 5? Well, because I think I can do X, Y, and Z. Perfect. Well, why isn't it a 9 or 10? And then that's where the paradigm, that's where the paradigm is. That's where the limiting belief comes in. So you already believe, you gave a number of, to say a 7 or an 8. So that's where your belief level is. That's 7 or 8. But it's the 9 and the 10 is where the paradigm is. That's the one that's pulling you back. And this is why we're here teaching every week, and individually we do it as well, to help you understand and even to reiterate for ourselves, because we're still having a human experience. Even though we understand we're spiritual beings, we still deal with an outer world, but we have learned how to differentiate outer results, people's opinions, et cetera, and choose to create the life that we desire. But this is all part of understanding that you are a spiritual being. There are universal laws that we're talking about here. And when you understand that, you start to believe in yourself much more, and you'll become a risk taker. You'll build your faith. And when you start to take action and take action from that belief, you will start to see different results in your life.
That's great segue because our buddy Paul has joined. Paul Woiters has asked a
Hey,
question. That was a great
miss
segue.
you.
Hey, Paul.
Hey,
Yeah, he says, what can I do to help develop belief in myself? Right. And, Lou shared elegantly how to do that. Belief, basically, you have to reevaluate your beliefs. And you can also really tap in and tell yourself, I believe in myself. You can say that to yourself over and over and over and water it with emotion. And you can tell yourself a lie until it's true. Remember, the subconscious doesn't know what's real or what's make believe. So as you even tell yourself that, you'll start believing in yourself and your abilities. And to really develop belief, you have to understand who you are. Like Lou was sharing. Bob said, I'm not my hand. I'm not my name. I'm not my head. You don't say am head, am hand, right? So you're actually spirit. manifested in physical form. So once you understand that, you're able to create whatever thoughts you want and really emphasize and impress the subconscious, and your vibrational state changes, your actions change, the universe responds to who you are becoming. And that's why visualization is so powerful. We all do it. We know it on different levels. There's different ways to do it. I do it every day. It's very, very required, because when you're in the physical world, you can kind of get lost, right? Find yourself, find your highest self. Remember, Lou said we're here to create. So remember, all the creatures in the world are completely at home in their environment, right? If you really think about, I was looking at the birds, they have wings to fly from tree to tree. They build nests at the top of these huge trees, and they're very comfortable in their environment. The feathers, or they can glide in the wind. They're designed to do that. Look at us. We're all different. Look at us, and why? We've been given these things to create our own environment. We can create whatever money we want, whatever lifestyle we want. And with this material, it's essential. So to understand, and I guess we're doing a part 3 because we get into understanding versus memorization.
Oh my gosh.
I want to say something about Paul's questions. And here I believe that one of the things is to think, what do I want with my life, and start to live in that now. And because when we are in our comfort zone, we feel safe. We know this, I can fix that, and so. But as soon as it be outside the comfort zone, we start to think that we cannot, and because we don't know with the unknown, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know. And here is like, okay, so if you have this goal and it's in alignment with your values, who do you need to become, or who do you need to already, is, or everything is already deep inside you.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to to let it come to the light. And it's like, okay, I believe that I can do this. I believe that I have everything within me to do this, and start talking. We talked before about what you are saying to yourself, because what we say to ourselves, what we focus on, will will affect our our state of mind. The body, if you are like going like this all the time, or if you are thinking, oh no, I cannot do this, or you are focusing in bad things, it will affect your state of mind. Yeah.
Awesome. This has been an amazing call. Amazing call. This is so important to your future to apply and to fully understand. And we're all here to help you. We love talking about it, but nothing changes until you take a committed action right now. So we have our links in the comments section of whatever platform that you're on. You can click on that, schedule a time to speak with us. We want to get to know you so we can help you towards whatever goals that you want and understand this at a higher level. But remember, what's going to hold you back is your old self, and also other people's opinions in the outside world. How long are you going to keep that holding you back from the essence of who you truly are? You go back and forth. Oh, I'm thinking about it. Maybe I'll talk to Lou. I think I talked to Lou. I like what she said. But you click on the link and maybe even schedule it, and then you cancel it. Right? Or maybe you're thinking about clicking on the link to schedule. Maybe you want to talk to one of us. Alicia shared some amazing things. I want to get to know her. I think she can help me. Now, there's your higher self thinking. You're thinking about it, but do you take that action? Right? Hey, Jamel, he's a funny guy. I can tell I might learn something from him. I like that guy. You're thinking about talking to me, but you don't take the action. Don't let your old self hold you back anymore. We don't know how much time we have. Make the present. Make your future self thank you for the actions you take today.
Mm-hmm.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, and hi, Heather. Thanks for joining.
Good luck,
See you next
Paul. We're rooting for you.
time.